We're live.
Yeah.
Namaste and a very good evening to everyone. I'm Mandara Popat and I would like to welcome you all to today's ICANN conversation. ICANN conversation में आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है. ICANN conversation एक ऐसी सीरीज है जिसके माध्यम से हम विभिन्न क्षेत्र के प्रमुख व्यक्तियों को आमंत्रित करते हैं और वह अपने अपने क्षेत्र में अपने अनुभव, अपने विचार और अपनी प्रेरणा हमारे साथ शेयर करते हैं. इस चर्चा को शुरू करने से पहले हम जान लेते हैं ICANN के बारे में. I'd like to tell all our participants a little more about ICANN. ICANN, that is India COVID Action Network, is an initiative to help underprivileged communities that have been hardest hit due to COVID-19. It is a unique moment to combat the pandemic through an online platform that connects those who are in need of help and those who can provide it. Our COVID warriors work from home, activating their on-ground community networks and mobilizing resource providers in order to connect the two and ensure that the most vulnerable sections of society can also sustain themselves through these difficult times. COVID warriors are spread across different states of India and are steadily growing day by day. I'd like to share our COVID impact bulletin for the day. Till date, the total needs fulfilled by COVID so far stand at 4,392 points of contact. We have 4,063 COVID warriors on board, 3,289 NGO partners, and COVID has impacted a total of 3,53,636 lives. अब हम अपना कोविन एंथम बजाएंगे.
मुश्किल है आन पड़ी ये कैसी कठिन घड़ी, सहमी सहमी जिंदगी, बिखरी हुई बंदगी, मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली. I can, you can, we can, India can. I can, you can, we can, India can. हम सब मिल जाए तो, मिलकर हाथ बटाए तो, टल जाएगी ये घड़ी, झूमेगी फिर से खुशी. आशा टूटे नहीं, हौसला रूठे नहीं, साथ ये छूटे नहीं, मंजिल दूर नहीं, मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली. I can, you can, we can, India can. I can, you can, we can, India can.
हम अपने सब कोविन वॉरियर्स का धन्यवाद करते हैं. Thank you for your continued selfless contributions on ground. I would also request all our participants to go to our website covinactionnetwork.in and partner with us in any way possible for them as a volunteer, as a partner NGO, or even as an organization willing to make a difference. We look forward to joining hands with you. तो आइए मित्रों, आज के इस संवाद की शुरुआत करते हैं. आज हम बात करेंगे हमारे आयुर्वेद और आत्मनिर्भरता पर. आज के आइकन कॉन्वर्सेशन का विषय है आयुर्वेद और आत्मनिर्भरता, इनोवेशंस एंड अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन द आयुर्वेद सेक्टर. आज के विषय पे चर्चा करने के लिए हमारे साथ उपस्थित है डॉक्टर JLN शास्त्री. थैंक यू सो फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे. I'd like to tell our participants a little more about Dr. JLN Shastri. Dr. Shastri belongs to a traditional Ayurveda family from Andhra and has grown up learning and imbibing the principles of Ayurveda in his everyday life. He has served for 7 years as a government medical officer in AP, 5 years as a CGHS medical officer, 4 years as the head of clinical research at Dabur, and then later on as the research head at Dabur for 8 years. Since January, he has been the head of the National Medicinal Plants Board. Thank you so much, Dr. Shastri, for taking out your valuable time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll kickstart our discussion now. As we just said that we'll be discussing about Atmanirbharta and Ayurveda, the kind of opportunities and the support system that we need to build a Ayurvedic related ecosystem. So now that we are all following Ayurvedic preventive care and immunity measures in our everyday life, I'm sure all our participants are as well. I'd like to take today's opportunity to discuss about how we envision India and Indian enterprises leading the world in the field of immunity solutions, and discuss how we can support our indigenous medicines to thrive and develop an ecosystem which promotes the growth, research, scientific and commercial acceptance of Ayurveda. With that, sir, I invite you to take over the platform and begin the discussion and talk about how the new shape and responsibilities are being given to the Ayush Ministry in the face of the COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, it's a crisis time as what we all discuss. But I'll say this is a time of introspection for all of us, because we started getting connected with each other like what we used to do about 2-3 decades back. We always look at the negative side. I started looking at the positive side of COVID. Okay, anyway, as I maintained in a few of my last talks or the conversations with others, history is going to be 2 parts now, pre-COVID and post-COVID. Okay, it's not the world war, it's COVID which is going to create a new history. For obvious reasons. Countries which were overconfident about their healthcare system understood they're vulnerable. Okay, countries which thought their healthcare system is very poor, like India, you are at 100 plus in the rankings of WHO. All of a sudden, you haven't seen. If you look at the incidence rate and mortality rate, you are the best 3 in the world. You are looking at only the negative side. Many times when we look at the media, we always look at the negative connotes. I would like to give you the positive connotes. Like you look at your incidence rate versus population, just imagine 0.000243. Okay. I would like to say when I look at a condition, it is negligible. But the problem is the mortality. Look at the mortality world over. Average mortality is 7%, and you are 3.4%. You are 50% of the mortality rate. Okay, and the progression. A lot of things. Like I was looking at the stats related to COVID right from Jan. Okay, I can show all the graphs world over what is happening. Basically, we were worried more for obvious reasons, because we have seen China, and at least as a scientist, I won't believe any data which is concealed.
Right.
Irrespective of the name of the country. It's very simple. Let us be very open. Any scientist or country or community who are not open with data, let us not talk about it. Whether I'm 12th and China is 13 or vice versa, it makes no difference when there is no sanctity for the data. Okay. That's the same thing people were saying about India, whether you are aware of it or not. On 1st of April, India was overall, India was having about 40,000 tests done, COVID tests. And today, if you look at the average, you are more than 1 lakh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are probably 4th or 5th in the number of tests in the world. So therefore, your data and your stats speaks more than any other country.
Absolutely.
So that's the kind of what you call transparency we have when it comes to the disease. And for the first time, I can tell you honestly one thing. Many times I used to get frustrated. What is happening here? Why are you breaking your head for saying these Indian systems are good and all? Is it not the responsibility of your co-scientists or what you call co-medical practitioners, it is India's property, nobody's property. If you are an Indian, whether you accept or not, IU systems belongs to your country.
Correct.
It's up to you whether you like it or don't like it is a different story, but you can't say that it's not your national property. So for the first time, all the systems and streams of science have come together. Systems of medicine and streams of science have come together, and we have formed a good team. And here today, I have a context being the interdisciplinary task force member secretary, and that was formed by our secretary Ayush, Dr. Rajesh Kotechaji, and then the chair, which is leading us from the front, is Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, is a renowned scientist, and many people from CSR, DBT, ICMR, a lot of fora, even Siddha, Ayurveda, Homeopathy, Unani. Okay, there is a single cause. How to reduce the impact, the negative impact of this condition. That's the single agenda in front of every Indian today. And thanks to one great personality, the Honorable Prime Minister did one simple thing. He wanted to save our lives. Okay, he was not saving his life. He was saving our lives. Let us realize this without attributing parties, anything. Just simply one head of the family, that's the head of the nation today, took a decision, bold decision, irrespective of the impact on the economics. Taken a bold decision. Let me save the life. Money is next. That's your Indian philosophy, whether you loved it or not. That's your Indian philosophy. With that, we were moving on. Now, after 3 lockdowns, if you have your stats in front, and then otherwise you get into WHO website or your Ministry of Health website or your Worldometer website, a lot of websites which are giving standard information. You compare with your top six nations, your top 6 nations. There you will come to know today when you are about 87, 85 to 87,000 COVID patients, you must be having about 1.5 lakh plus. Okay, which is not the case. And I'm taking this at the level like last week I was calculating at 12 lakhs what other countries were and what we are.
Yeah.
We are far below. Okay, at 12 lakhs, I was expected to be about 78,000, and India we were 48. And after completing 14 lakhs, the other 6 countries which have completed 14 lakhs, of course, one country, I think is Spain, I extrapolated the data, and we were far below, about 40% below. So we have something with us for which we should first feel proud. It may be your traditional some recipe in South or some kind of health, what you call management systems, what we have in other parts. But uniformly, this country is blessed in one way. Otherwise, according to one of my calculations, when you completed about 10 lakh tests in this country, you must be having about 5.95 crores already, what you call COVID. It is not the case. You can't simply extrapolate. There are other factors which will, the epigenetics and then the humoral factor, so many things which will play the role. Okay, let us realize, let us don't get panicky. First of all, we are getting panicky. The Honorable Prime Minister's endeavor was to save your lives, and he saved it. Yeah, people talk about the migrating workers, and these problems will come. See, the same people will come on the other side also, because we have no other job just to sit relaxed at home and then make comments which our tongue is free to do. Okay, but we have to realize the ground reality. The ground reality is the preference. What is the preference given? This is the preference. We have done it. Now slowly we have to come back to the economy, for which now the government started looking at various propositions. Okay, so you will be getting back to your work, like during the course of your lockdowns also, agriculture is one field on which government is very focused, and they have not disturbed their activity. And slowly then they've allowed the construction workers to get into their job, and then they've allowed what you call individual what you call shopkeepers who have their own individual entities to start their activities. And then people like me, I never felt I am under lockdown because being a senior, this thing I am working.
Right.
Uh, I have to work with 30% and I'm doing it. So life did not stop and should not stop. Okay. So the major challenge before us is how we are going to tackle the economy of this country.
Right.
And I started looking at the positive side. Okay. The positive side is this is the best opportunity ever for India. I'm not an economist, but just as like what you are saying, when I was in industry or when I'm here in government, I'm more attached to the livelihoods. I started working in the livelihoods of Rajasthan through our medicinal plant cultivation, and in Uttarakhand, the hilly people they started migrating. So with there we have done some projects, and I reached up to Leh Ladakh, where the high altitude plant cultivation in about 6 villages now it has become successful after 2 years, where you can definitely stop the migration in those areas, because these are all endeavors which will first of all create livelihood through which nobody wants to leave. Given a chance, including me, put me in my native village. Rather, always I prefer to work there because that nostalgia will always be there. People may hide their feeling, but if you are speaking from your left ventricle, you will always say that yes, that's the best thing what you want to do. But for jobs, you will be traveling across the globe, and again, your inner soul will always tell you how good you feel in your village and outside. Okay, therefore, this is the right time, like our father of the nation was saying earlier, villages are the backbones of this country, and maybe this is what is going to happen. Okay, these migrating workers and other people who have already gone back to their villages, just imagine if you create avenues and revenues for them in their native places, maybe you will be doing the best job for this country. And that's what you have seen from the finance minister in the last couple of days, and especially yesterday. Okay, and from National Medicinal and Plant Board, we have also been given a big responsibility, and that's what I was saying. Maybe post COVID, we'll see an Ayush economy in this country. I'm strongly believing it. For one reason, I'll give live examples. Anybody can do a survey or a counter check and come back to me. I can prove my point correct. Herbs like ashwagandha,
Hmm.
Giloi, Tulsi is not available really. Okay, because these are the traditions. These are the real traditions of this country, and nobody can tell you that you should take a pinch of Tulsi leaves and consume when you have some infection. That's the kind of training we had. We were not depending on the ultra modern healthcare system for everything. Let us realize one thing: as Indians, we should first feel proud. Every century has seen a major calamity, healthcare calamity, or epidemic or endemic, right from plague to start with. Then you have your cholera. Then you have Spanish flu, and this is the fourth one. Each at around exactly 101 years apart. I don't know what is the relation, so I don't want to predict anything. But every century has seen, and where were the facilities what we have today in the last three instances? I would like to categorically mention one D.V. Gopalacharya from Chennai. When plague outbreak was there, when he treated arrested more than 25,000 people with his recipes, he had been given a title by British.
Hmm.
And I can quote a lot of instances. Only thing we have started having over dependence on one particular system. I have no hatred against any system. Like I don't use it. You may accept, you don't accept. I don't take any medicine. Okay. Yeah, for most of the things, I look at the preventive part.
Hmm.
Okay. Therefore, last time when I had fever is about 16 years back. Okay, therefore I can owe this if you follow some tips. Okay, and you need not worry about medicines. Okay, per se medicine is something which is required when we are seriously ill. We should develop this kind of what you call thought process,
Yes.
and then minimize the burden on the what you call usage of the chemicals, and then bring natural things. Okay, for everything we are just gulping a tablet and feeling okay, I'm okay. You are not okay. You are showing that you are okay by gulping a tablet. So these are no health friends. So your natural ways of keeping you healthy,
Right.
something which is going to come back to our lives. So I'll give. Just forward that agency. I can forward it to you after this thing. I am recollecting. After 14th April, 15th April, Honorable Prime Minister's uh, talk on the national media, there were about 5.6 million hits immediately in the next few days on the topic immunity, natural ways of immunity in the internet. That's surprising. One group they have published this data. I'm having it data. You can refer Financial Express 4th of May. It's there in the news. So that shows one can influence, and then people are listening. These are two things. And in the same article, I also read, and on 29th April, also a Business Standard also mentioned there is an increase of about 30-35% for the immunomodulators or immunity boosting natural products in India. And the growth is 30-35%. When you are seeing a degrowth on overall pharma industry, somebody says it is about 40%, somebody says 60% also on the negative side. But look at the positive side. So therefore, when people started looking at natural products, I being the responsible custodian of natural products or medicinal plants in the country, when I started quickly looking at what is happening, there are 10 to 20 herbs which are of high demand, and immediately you need to act. Of course, we have initiated some measures, and government is also ably supporting. That's what you can see. The finance minister, honorable finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, announced about 4,000 crores package for the medicinal plants. And that's the first time in the history. Okay. And we ourselves are surprised at the kind of commitment the government is showing for this. Okay. So now government is committed and the officials are committed. Now how committed is the public? So I'm bringing them to the context.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm looking at, as I told you, Aish economy, like green economy, which will be strengthening the rural economy. If you retain those people who have gone back to villages or already living there,
Mm.
by engaging them in a very good practice, there is a lot of community land, government land, and even the private lands available across the country, which can be engaged for a noble cause, that is the medicinal plants cultivation, like ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a known immunomodulator. Anybody interested, you can just click this NIH website and type ashwagandha under clinical trials government in NIH. You find 10 studies, out of which 2 studies, completed studies, suggest that they have established. If it is in India, people don't believe, therefore I'm quoting the other side. Okay, therefore they'll be confident. And you come to know that it has already been tested and proven as an immunomodulator. You look at Tinospora cardifolia, British Pharmacopoeia also accepted Tinospora cardifolia. And Tinospora cardifolia giloy is an immune booster, even when there were some conditions like dengue and other, people were taking it. So there were 2 aspects to this. One is the antiviral activity, and yesterday also there was an article proving the antiviral what we call potential of Britannia. But a lot of work is also going on through the task force recommendations.
Yeah.
These are some of the low-hanging fruits for you, which doesn't cost much. Okay, now you start propagating because the world is going to receive it from you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's exactly what I want to say. So far, ashwagandha and giloy and tulsi are your property. If you don't just realize that people have already recognized outside India the potential of these few herbs, you will miss them forever, and they will be using it
Absolutely.
because there's a demand, lot of demand last 2 months on these herbs for the export. And Tulsi again, as we all know, a lot of publications, scientific publications are there, and practices are there, and well-documented evidences. Even you have to take the model of China. As per the data available with me, right from 2003, when they had SARS, and then 2014 to 19, they have done very serious research, and 1920 also 5 6 papers, very good papers they published. About 309 studies, pre-clinical and clinical studies they have conducted on the traditional Chinese medicine. And you'll be surprised to know that what is the main herb through which they were managing mulethi, your glycyrrhiza or licorice.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably it is the only potential herb today. I'm talking as a scientist, no fear or favor to one system. And then this is one herb. And China, we have a lot of papers, and they're published in peer-reviewed journals. And they've also established the mechanism how it is helping in improving the condition of these subjects. They understood there is a cytokine storm which all are discussing about today is being addressed in a controlled way. Like you can't say all the cytokines are wrong or in the negative to your immune system. It's not the case. So you have to have a selective mechanism, and which will come through your what you call NK cell activity and your MSC1 pathway and TH1 pathway, because you need a controlled mechanism. So when you look at immunity also, and from the modern perspective, for viral bacteria you need something,
Yeah.
for fungi you need something, for spirochetes you need something, and then your protozoal organisms you need something else. So these mechanisms, as when you carefully review the scientific literature, the Indian herbs have been studied very well. Though not against COVID, many people may debate with me. My one simple logic is, when we have started blindly, I want to be on record on this, and I'm ready to face any criticism because we are blind scientists sometimes. Please, if you want to counter check my statement, just please open the website of WHO, click on the Mythbusters. It is fifth or sixth question is whether to use HCQ or not. They caution you not to use HCQ. In India, we are using it as a prophylaxis. Unfortunately, we are not giving the same importance to age-old system where none of these herbs are reported with any kind of toxicity. Nowhere. Okay. For that reason, start it. No? And the bioequivalence studies on HCQ and ashwagandha were done by some modern doctors from Pune, and it has been published. It's not my study, therefore, it's the modern scientific fraternity should believe their own study, not my statement, and just blindly start using when you are blindly using HCQ. And we don't know what is the fate of these 7 weeks of prophylaxis for the your so-called COVID warriors, the frontline warriors who are the what you call high risk group who are vulnerable. These HCPs are healthcare practitioners, the healthcare providers. They need protection, and this is a safer option. And WHO is not talking about it and is cautioning you from using it. When we have resorted to just empirical usage, if you see the 22nd March advisory on HCQ by ICMR, it said that's through ICMR, of course, Minister of Health, it states the same thing. Empirical usage, please read between the lines. The
Right.
heading states empirical usage. So give some such kind of importance to your Indian systems.
Correct.
You're not giving any poison, and you are using it for centuries. So just is your traditional practice. And these herbs you have included, the herbs which I have quoted. If anybody is interested, please open Indian Pharmacopoeia. It's not Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia or Unani pharmacopoeia, Indian pharmacopoeia. These herbs are there. So why are we not respecting our own science first? We are neither respecting the traditional medicine, we are not respecting the science. What do we respect? You have low-hanging fruits with you. Come on. And I have data. Anybody is interested, I'll share my data. Already I have collected 60 to 70 doctors. It includes both modern doctors, Ayurvedic doctors, Siddha doctors, even Unani doctors who were on the duty of COVID and passed away. Okay, and more than 4,500 other healthcare people. Mine is evidence with published articles in the media. Okay, and it is apparent with the individual's identity. Ethically, I cannot do it on this forum, but the data is available. Only we are closing our eyes. So there is no foolproof approach whether what we are doing is 100% effective and 100% useful. In those circumstances, we should definitely look at the alternative, what do you call, healthcare provisions available, and we should just keep on watching what is happening, because we are sailing in the same way, the same boat. Either you have an upper hand or I have an upper hand, and nothing to lose. Okay, that's one thing. Then when you are doing it, the West started really taking them and using them in their day-to-day life. Okay, it is a hot topic world over. Just look at the export of all these herbs. Now, if you can put your own farmers and the local communities on this job, you will be strengthening the rural economy. You will be providing them livelihood. You will be providing the health care, and you will be coming out of the present crisis. What else we need? ओके, आत्मनिर्भरता जो कि बात कर रहे हैं, इससे ज्यादा क्या चाहिए आपको? आज दुनिया आपकी तरफ देख रहे हैं, आपको दुनिया की तरफ देखने की जरूरत नहीं है, पर गर्व महसूस कर रहा हूँ एज एन इंडियन. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट एनी सिस्टम व्हाइल सेइंग दिस. आज आप जैसे ये बीमारी को मैनेज कर रहे हैं, उसको देख के हमारे इंडिजिनस से देख के प्रधानमंत्री जी बोले कि घर बैठो, हम बैठ गए, बत्ती जलाओ बत्ती जलाए थे, घंटी बजाओ घंटी बजाए थे, एक होके. ठीक है, तो इससे ये मैसेज दिए थे कि हम एक है. वो मैसेज बहुत स्ट्रांग गया है पहले. और इसके साथ साथ क्या है कि हंसने वाले लोगों को भी देखा था, हंसने दीजिए, वो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. जब आप इफेक्टिवली मैनेज किए, आज तक मेरे पास स्टैट्स है, मैं किसी भी फॉरम में तैयार हूँ. आप दुनिया की 6 कंट्रीज की और आपकी पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा है. लोग क्या कहते हैं, चाइना छोड़ने के बाद आपकी पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा है, 133 to 138 का आ रहा है, पर 133 लेके चलिए जो लॉजिकल दिख रहा है मुझको. इसमें से आप नंबर देख के क्यों बात कर रहे हैं, परसेंटेज बात करो ना. पर 100 क्या होता है? यूएस में 32.7 है, आप उससे 4 गुना ज्यादा है. जब 4 गुना ज्यादा है, 4 गुना ज्यादा होना ही चाहिए. अगर उतना ही हो रहा है, क्यों नहीं हुआ हमारा? हो ही नहीं रहा है. तो अरे ब्लेस्ड हमारा ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स जो है. अब ये बताए कि कितने स्पाइसेस आप खाते हैं, उतने कोई खाते हैं. राम विश्वकर्मा जी जो रिनाउंड साइंटिस्ट हैं, तो IIIM जम्मू का डायरेक्टर है, उन्होंने अपने एक आर्टिकल छपवाया था. आपकी देश की सबसे बेहतर वैज्ञानिक वो जर्नल माना जाता है करंट साइंस में, अप्रैल में. उन्होंने क्लियरली बताया था कि व्हाट इज द रीजन, हाउ दिस विल बी हेल्पफुल, दिस स्पाइसेस विल बी हेल्पफुल. ये सब छोड़िए. चाइना का और एक रिसर्च हुआ था कोविड में. योर स्टार एनीस इज देयर, व्हिच इज योर स्पाइस. It is tested, and its efficacy is proven in controlling the infection of SARS-CoV-2. Further studies are going on. Okay, look at the latest study by a Pakistan team. and registered. This trial is registered in US NIH website. Again, tells you. Please read this. Do you know what is the recipe on which SARS-CoV-2 infection control is being studied? That is your Colonge or Shahad, Nigella sativa along with honey. Just imagine, it's a controlled study which has been registered and is underway. We are only not believing in India. But thanks to Government of India and their policy, after 28th March meeting with the industry as well as the Academia of Ayush with Honorable Prime Minister, and followed up by Sri Piyush Goyalji on 30th March, and subsequently, now a interdisciplinary task force has been formed, and this task force again made about 7 different working groups. Under the working groups, now we have created the public health guidelines, which are already there. Of course, we have just approved it and we have accepted it. And we have the practitioner guidelines for each individual system, and integrative generic guidelines, as I mentioned earlier, how to get connected with other systems. If a homeopath wants to use his or her medicines, how to integrate with the existing modern medicine, because modern medicine contributed enormously for the infectious conditions and for acute medical care and surgery. We have to salute that. Nobody can deny that. Okay, there are some gray areas which need to be handed over to indigenous systems, and this is kind of a particular condition where indigenous systems will definitely help. I'm not saying that okay, ये virus को खत्म करेंगे. Let us not make those big statements and stupid statements. Let us say something. Simply, you take care of your immunity. As we all know, out of 100 subjects which are being tested, and only 4. And remember, by somewhere between 10th and 15th of April, per 100 tests, you were 4.7 and 4.8. Today, you are only 4. So people who say the condition is uncontrolled, I would like to ask, read the stats and come back to me, whether it is increasing or decreasing. Stats to speak. See, we are all scientists. Just you can't have perceptions of your own and then debate. Okay, the statistics to speak, and it's still the graph is down. It's not up. We are only picking up some pockets. That always happens. There will be local conditions and local reasons for those all of a sudden a burst of few cases. But you cannot make it as a what do you call national scenario. It's unfair. That's how overall picture when you take is we have effectively managed so far so good. And anyway, you're not going to get rid of it just like that. Nah? You have to live with it now. So there is a mantra, always I mentioned it, and I am of the firm opinion on this. So this is a time where we know there is no vaccine. For conditions where there is no vaccine, one simple rule, you protect your vulnerable group in this. I have done an evaluation because people started saying it affects elderly. So again, always it will be there. No two physicians will have the same opinion. Okay, that dictum stands good here also. So some segments started contradicting. So getting into the controversy, as I told you, truth will be only one. Whether you accept or reject is the only your problem. But always this we make this as a problem of the population or public. It's not the case. So when I carefully evaluated which are all the countries which have the highest old-aged population, I found 25 countries. Out of them, 19 countries together have given rise to 68 to 74% kind of mortality in COVID, and all are 65 plus. So that shows there's a strong prediction, and this is not because of the age, this is because of the comorbidities again. And in India also recently, you might have seen an 85-year-old lady, she came out successfully from the COVID ward. Okay, and likewise also we have, therefore, we will not make any absolute statement, but it's a common observation.
Right.
Okay, therefore, these population, if they are protected, is very difficult because you are going out and they are in. So you create your isolation ward, like one room or one section of your home, and put them there, give them their own belongings, put separately in a sterile condition, and that's the only thing. That if you ask me, my solution will be like that, and allow the other people who have their innate immunity or the humoral immunity intact, let them move around. That gives the herd immunity. So let virus prevail, and because of your immunity, that spread will be stopped, and that's the best way. Okay, going forward, now scientists must be what you call thinking about this possibility also, because we don't have a vaccine.
Right.
Okay, and my fingers are crossed. I pray heavens. I should not say as a scientist, but definitely I pray heavens to give me that kind of earliest solution through vaccine. But this virus already you have seen 6, 7 strains, and it's changing its course every time. And then that's the reason why it may not be that easy to find a foolproof vaccine. But let us not drop our shoulders. Again, research will continue.
Right.
But coming back to our point of looking at the Atmanirbharta, what you said in the beginning, look at this population who are there in the villages, put them on some horticultural practices, put them on honey beekeeping. There's another thing, yesterday, if you see in the finance minister's the proposition, beekeeping. In India, we have not taken beekeeping as a serious activity. And for any crop, you need either butterflies or honeybees as pollinators. They're the common and the best pollinators. So the ecosystem cannot be complete without their support. So that is giving some balance to the ecosystem, and then it gives livelihood to the farmer. So these are integrative practices. So along with your conventional crops, you come for an intercrop. If you have general cultivation, if you have some mango orchards, lychee orchards, or some other species, you come for an intra-crop. I can give you Shalparni, Krishnaparni, Bhumi Amla. I have all packages for you. So earlier I worked in about 22 states in the country, and the temperate to tropical and subtropical, you ask me, I can put you on some or other suitable. It will be tailor-made, this thing. So one elderly person from my area, he mentioned and it etched on my heart. There is only wasted land in India, no wasteland. Wasteland is an inefficient individual statement. Okay, so we have done cultivation in 11 pH soil. People may realize or may not, and about 200-acre bit is there in Uttar Pradesh, Sandila, where about 130 acres today is under cultivation, and about 5, 6 species are being grown. And we need not drop shoulders. Like if you go to a rocky area like Kutch, or if you go to the sandy soil like in Rajasthan also. Rajasthan is Shankapushpi, which is a accepted what you call memory booster. You may accept, may not accept, but it is useful in amnesia, and it improves the cognitive functions. There are a lot of papers published, and this is abundantly cultivated. Okay, and Boogaloo and other plantation is there in Kutch, Gujarat. So you have diversity. India itself is sixth largest diversity zone in the world when it comes to biodiversity, and you have a lot of diversity of medicinal plants. Hardly we have used any area, if you ask me. At least I have taken the total stats of forest land and what you call cultivable land in this country. My stats suggest that you have 30 to 40% of the land is still available if you want to cultivate. Okay, it runs into lakhs and lakhs of hectares. Okay, so use it and create the boost what is required for a rural economy. Create livelihood. My rural economy, I'm not interested in generating money for the nation alone. I am interested in creating livelihood. आपकी प्रधानमंत्री जी बताए थे कि इनकी दुगना करो, ये तो हो जाएगा जैसे आप जिसमें लग जाएंगे ना। आपने कन्वेंशनल क्रॉप भी किए थे अभी तक, अब ये करो। इससे आपको दो चीज होंगे, आपकी स्वास्थ्य बढ़ जाएगा और आपके लिए रोटी भी बन जाएगा। ओके, सो लॉट ऑफ गुड थिंग्स हैपन एंड बी कीपिंग करेंगे, इकोसिस्टम और ठीक हो जाएगा। ऑर्गेनिक कल्टीवेशन करो, केमिकल्स खत्म हो जाएगा धीरे धीरे। मैं वेस्ट बंगाल में देखा था, उड़ीसा में देखा था, वहाँ ये जड़ी बूटियाँ उगाने वाले जो है ये फॉलो इवन तेलंगाना रिसेंटली, तेलंगाना parts of Andhra, they are using the local communities, they use the traditional natural methods without using chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Amazing.
Right. Absolutely.
Still alive, we sitting in the cities closed our eyes and says that नहीं कुछ नहीं होता है, सब कुछ हो रहा है, हम अंधे हैं. Okay, we always try to hide our ignorance, to hide that we say nothing is there.
Yes, true.
Plenty there. I never spent one day with pessimism. Okay, therefore I don't allow this to creep in anybody's mind. Every difficult situation will give opportunity, and this difficult situation has already given opportunity. Come on, as responsible citizens of this country, each one of us, like I'm happy why I'm here. I don't know whether I have given a scientific talk or a social talk or a political talk. I did not realize, but I was speaking from my heart, which will be useful for organizations like you. I did not try to be more scientific. Though if you have questions, I try to dig out some of the particular topics which you require. But otherwise, this is what I want to convey. A lot of scope, and my this thing is again when I look at rural this thing again, women health. Okay, in the upcoming programs, what we are planning through cultivation of medicinal plants and all, bring back the women health. Okay, and that's going to be backbone. Like if you look at rural population, because of the iron deficiency, a lot of congestive cardiac failures are happening. So that can be taken care. If you give, we call it as a Matsyakshi in Sanskrit, a leaf, which is a very good solution for anemia. Punannava leaves, a very good solution. If you look at Tamil Nadu market, they use this as a regular diet, and these are the vegetables, which are leafy vegetables which are used. So those practices we have to bring back. They call it as Agatya Kira, and that is Sesbania leaves, which are rich in vitamin A, and drumsticks, which are rich in vitamin A. So these are the few things. Once you start cultivating, you can inculcate in their life. Okay, once they are cultivating, it will not go. Everything will not go into market alone. Something will go into their life. Okay, so something will make money, something will make wealth and health together. That's the package which I am at least looking at. And yes, now you can tell me. I don't know how much time is left, and you can ask me if you have any questions.
So thank you so much, Dr. Shastri, first of all, for giving this holistic talk to us. Like you said, it wasn't political, it wasn't social, it wasn't scientific or commercial. It was an all-encompassing, all-imbibing talk. So we are really glad you shared your experience and your lessons with us. Thank you so much for that. We do have a few audience questions, and we have about 10 minutes so we can address them if that's okay with you, sir.
Yeah.
So, sir, one of the very common questions that we have actually received from a lot of the audience members is about Chyawanprash. People are saying that Chyawanprash is one of India's treasures. Is there research being done on that? And what are we doing to promote it and claim it?
Yeah, in fact, of course, people who know me will connote me with my earlier work on Chyawanprash. I have a lot of publications, and I have closely worked. I feel proud that we made standards for Chyawanprash. A lot of publications are there on that. And I tell you, about 5 clinical studies are being initiated by Central Council Research in Ayurveda and Ayurvedic Sciences on Chyawanprash right now as a prophylactic measure. And I understood about 3 studies have been initiated by Central Council Research. If you ask me, just you have to wait for a few days. We have done a wonderful review of some facts through very scientific methodology, and you will see the results. That's why I cannot speak on that, but they prove the impact. Once this comes out, any scientist can immediately start believing the impact it created already. And only thing, see, there is a retrospective research which is available, which we don't do. And a lot of data is available and the subjects are available. Only always we look at prospective research and exploratory research. But more than exploratory, the prospective research is something which attracts. But the retrospective research and methodology, if you apply, you get a lot of interesting things. And like Chyawanprash earlier, when we have done studies, it has a controlled NK cell regulation. It has upregulation on TNF alpha. It has upregulation on your cytokine and so whatnot. Is all together.
Right.
See, it is a selective regulation. Therefore, there is nothing surprising if it is preventive. That's why the first guidelines given on 29th January itself. Your first case is registered on 30th Jan in India. And 29th, the first advisory came, and in that Chyawanprash is there. Okay, remember this. So yeah, we are not blind. The kind of studies, at least 100 odd papers are available on Chyawanprash and its efficacy and time tested. In India, every season, starting from mid of October and mid of February, up to mid of March, people consume it ritually,
Yes.
and it is more in about 16, 15, 16 states of northern India, do not south, because they don't get these kind of cold conditions. It is little less, but they use their own methods. That impact is also being documented by us. And when it is used, you get what you call, if you survey, you get a lot of interesting things, and we have done that. Just you have to wait for a couple of days to know about the impact, but there is positive impact.
Okay. Thank you so for sharing that. The next couple of questions, I'll just combine them because they have a similar vein. The question says that what is the scope of a startup for Ayurvedic products? And the second question says that are we working fast enough to claim our heritage and ensure that our local people get the advantages of the current situation? Dr. Shastri, am I audible?
See, yeah. See, startups again. That chapter in my life is over. You are asking about the commercial part, but anyway, we are now working on the forward integration. Therefore, taking that cue, I can give a few suggestions. It's good, but mostly in India, I see a commercial approach for making money. People are entering into this, thinking that is low-hanging fruit, starting in Ayush industry. Come seriously and start it. It's not a big deal for MSMEs. 2 days back, you have a package given by Government of India, and on the herbal front, you have a package. So, world is looking for us, and domestic market is also in need. But the standards, the GMP standards are to be followed, and the standards given for the ingredients are to be followed. So, you should be sure about the ingredients. So, for that, you may have to have a backward integration mechanism through which you will get proper livelihood for the communities who are bringing these minor forest produce or from the wild. They will be benefited by this, not the middlemen alone. So come with a positive mind. Then your second part will be, what was it?
So the second question says that there's a huge demand for now preventive measures around the world. So is India moving fast enough to ensure we claim our heritage before others do it, and so that our local people people are benefited?
First of all, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Okay. We always have this doubt, unfortunately. Okay. So first of all, drop this doubt. And yes, the government is keen, and it has done what all it has to do. Of course, there is no end for this, because the demand is increasing day by day. And conditions like COVID prompted other parts of the globe to really seriously look at you, and that will be taken care. But here the question is, how big we are when it comes to our domestic activity. So some of the stats suggest that it is the urban population who are more keen to use the natural products, while the rural population, there is a down. And this needs to get changed, and those are the measures which I was discussing today during our discussions, which will improve the scenario. And yes, world over there is a what you call buzz around Ayush systems, and I think in the coming few months there will be a lot of changeover going to happen for obvious reasons.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shastri, for sharing that with our audience members. So on that note, I will request us to wind up the session. Once again, I'd like to thank you so much for this wonderfully educational session where all of us got to learn something new. A lot of our audience members are also sharing in the comment box that they got a lot of new knowledge from this session. And thank you so much for leaving us with so many learnings and a lot of positivity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.